Before you believe every abandoned house is haunted, ask yourself one question. What if the house isn't haunted by ghosts, but by memories that refuse to die? Across the United States, thousands of abandoned homes slowly collapse beneath forests, forgotten roads, and decades of silence. Most are empty. Some are dangerous because of age. But once in a generation, investigators discover a place so disturbing that every explanation, science, psychology, even religion, begins to fall apart. This is the story of one such house. A house hidden deep inside the Appalachian Mountains, where every person who entered alone claimed to hear someone calling their name. Some never returned. Others came back, but they were never the same again. This story is based on documented local legends, abandoned property records, and eyewitness accounts that have circulated in rural America for decades. While some names have been changed to protect privacy, the events you're about to hear remain one of the strangest unsolved mysteries ever connected to an abandoned house. October 2023. 34-year-old investigative journalist Daniel Carter had built his reputation exposing urban legends that turned out to be ordinary crimes or misunderstood history. His documentaries were popular because he never exaggerated evidence. Every episode ended with facts, police reports, and interviews rather than sensational claims. When an anonymous package arrived at his office in Boston, he assumed it was another tip from someone hoping to gain internet attention. Inside was a yellowed photograph of a massive Victorian house standing alone in the middle of a dense forest. On the back, someone had written only one sentence: "The house doesn't kill people, it makes them disappear from everyone's memory." There was no return address, no fingerprints, only a folded newspaper clipping dated September 1987. The headline read, "Local family of 5 vanishes from remote mountain home." Daniel searched newspaper archives, expecting to find follow-up articles. There were none. No investigation, no obituary, no missing person campaign. It was as though history itself had forgotten the family existed. Curiosity quickly turned into obsession. After weeks of searching old land records, county archives, and forgotten library microfilms, Daniel finally found the property's location. Deep within the mountains of eastern Kentucky, several miles away from the nearest paved road, stood what locals simply called Black Briar House. Officially, it had another name, but nobody used it anymore. The property had remained abandoned for nearly 70 years. Every owner after 1952 either disappeared, abandoned it without explanation, or sold it for almost nothing. Insurance companies refused to cover it. Surveyors declined contracts after visiting the land. Even utility companies had permanently removed it from modern service maps. That alone fascinated Daniel. People exaggerate ghost stories. Government records rarely do. 2 weeks later, Daniel rented a 4-wheel drive truck and headed south. The further he drove into the Appalachian Mountains, the quieter the world became. Cell service disappeared. GPS constantly recalculated before giving up entirely. The final 15 miles followed an old logging road almost swallowed by trees. Branches scraped against the truck windows like skeletal fingers. Rain clouds rolled across the mountains long before sunset. Eventually, he reached a rusted iron gate hanging from broken stone pillars. One side had collapsed completely. A faded warning sign leaned sideways beneath thick vines. The words were almost unreadable. Private property, entry not advised. Not prohibited, not dangerous, simply not advised. He smiled. Someone with a strange sense of humor must have written it decades earlier. He grabbed his camera equipment and began hiking. The forest surrounding Black Briar House felt unusually silent. Not peaceful, silent. There were no birds, no insects, no distant animal sounds. Even the wind seemed strangely absent beneath the towering trees. After 20 minutes of walking, the house finally appeared through the fog. It was breathtaking. 3 stories tall, dark gray wood weathered by more than a century of storms. Broken stained glass windows reflected almost no light. The enormous front porch sagged under its own weight. Every window seemed to stare directly back at him. Daniel had visited abandoned prisons, hospitals, and entire ghost towns. None of them made him hesitate. This house did. He couldn't explain why. It wasn't fear. It felt more like the overwhelming sensation that someone inside already knew he had arrived. He laughed at himself. Years of listening to ghost stories were clearly affecting his imagination. He pressed record. October 18th, 2023, he spoke calmly into the camera. I'm standing outside Black Briar House, one of Kentucky's oldest abandoned residences. According to local legends, multiple families disappeared here over several decades. Today, we're separating folklore from documented history. He climbed the front steps. The door opened before he touched it. A slow, creaking sound echoed through the entrance hall. Daniel immediately checked for airflow. No wind, no draft. The heavy door had simply opened by itself. He noted it without comment. Old houses shifted constantly. Inside, dust covered every surface except one narrow trail leading deeper into the house. Someone had walked there recently. The footprints weren't fresh enough to identify, but they were unmistakably human. He followed them. The entrance hall contained antique furniture untouched by vandals. Portraits still hung on faded wallpaper. Every single face had been scratched away. Not damaged by age, deliberately removed. Children, parents, grandparents, every face. Only empty outlines remained. He zoomed the camera closer. Deep knife marks crossed every portrait. Dozens, hundreds. Whoever destroyed them had done so with incredible patience. At the end of the hallway stood an enormous grandfather clock. Its hands pointed exactly to 3:17. The pendulum no longer moved, yet tick, tick, tick. Daniel froze. The clock was making noise. He stepped closer. The mechanism inside had completely rusted away decades earlier. There were no gears connected, nothing capable of movement. Yet the ticking continued, perfectly steady, exactly 1 second apart. He recorded several minutes of audio before continuing. The dining room looked strangely untouched. Silverware remained neatly arranged across the massive table. Crystal glasses still stood upright despite decades of abandonment. A layer of dust covered everything equally, except one chair. One chair appeared perfectly clean, as though someone had been sitting there only moments earlier. Daniel circled it carefully. No footprints, no explanation, just a spotless wooden chair surrounded by years of dust. Then, his camera battery died. Impossible. He had charged every battery that morning. He inserted another. Dead. A third, also dead. Every fully charged battery suddenly displayed 0 power. He stared in disbelief. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Slow, measured, directly above him. Someone was walking across the second floor. One step. Pause. Another step. Pause. The sound crossed from one end of the house to the other.
Daniel immediately called out. "Hello?" Silence.
I'm not here to cause problems. Someone upstairs? Nothing. He grabbed a flashlight and climbed the staircase. Each step groaned beneath his weight. The second floor contained 6 bedrooms connected by a long hallway. Every door stood open, except one. The final room remained closed. Fresh scratches covered the outside of the door, long parallel marks as though someone had desperately tried to claw their way out. Daniel slowly reached for the handle. Locked. He leaned closer. From inside, someone whispered his name. Not loudly, barely above a breath. Daniel. His heartbeat accelerated. He stepped backward. Maybe another explorer had recognized him. Maybe someone was hiding inside. He knocked firmly. "Who's there?" No response. Only silence. Then the whisper returned, this time from directly behind him. "Daniel." He spun around. The hallway was empty. Every bedroom remained abandoned. Dust floated through narrow beams of fading afternoon light. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Trying to stay rational, Daniel convinced himself the old house was creating strange echoes. He continued filming with his phone instead of the dead cameras. At the end of the hallway, he noticed something impossible. A family photograph hanging slightly crooked on the wall. Unlike every other portrait downstairs, this one still had faces. 4 adults, 2 children, and standing in the back, a man wearing modern hiking clothes, a backpack, a camera hanging around his neck. Daniel moved closer. His blood ran cold. The man in the photograph looked exactly like him. Same beard, same jacket, same scar above his left eyebrow. The photograph appeared over 50 years old, yet somehow Daniel Carter was standing inside it. Before he could process what he was seeing, a loud slam echoed through the house. The front door had just closed by itself. Then every window shattered at once. And from somewhere deep below the floorboards, a child's whisper only whispered 6 terrifying words. "Now the house remembers you too." Daniel's breathing became uneven. The child's whisper faded into silence, but the words continued echoing inside his mind. "Now the house remembers you too." He rushed downstairs, determined to leave immediately. The front door refused to open. He pulled harder. Nothing. He kicked it with all his strength. The old wood didn't even shake. Moments earlier, the door had swung open by itself. Now it felt as if the entire house was holding it shut from the outside. Daniel searched every window. Each one was blocked by twisted wooden shutters he hadn't noticed before. The sunlight outside had vanished. His watch read only 4:26 p.m., yet through the broken glass, the forest looked as dark as midnight. Trying to stay calm, he took out his satellite emergency beacon. No signal. His phone displayed something even stranger. Instead of showing no service, the screen simply read, "Unknown location." The GPS map had disappeared completely, as though he no longer existed anywhere on Earth. A sudden knock echoed from somewhere beneath the floor. 3 slow knocks, then another 3. Daniel followed the sound into the basement. The wooden stairs groaned beneath every step. The air grew colder with each level he descended. At the bottom stood shelves filled with dusty glass jars, rusted farming tools, and stacks of handwritten journals tied together with faded leather straps. One journal lay open on an old workbench. The final entry was dated October 18th, 2023. Daniel froze. That was today's date. His hands trembled as he began reading. "I know why the house called me here. If anyone finds this journal, leave immediately. Do not let the house learn your name. There was no author's name, only initials. D.C. Daniel turned the page. Every sentence described his journey, receiving the mysterious photograph, driving into Kentucky, walking through the forest, finding the scratched portraits, the clean chair, the broken clock, every detail, word for word. The final unfinished sentence read, "I can hear someone walking upstairs. If I survive." The page ended there. Daniel stared at the handwriting. It was identical to his own. Panic finally replaced curiosity. He stuffed the journal into his backpack and ran upstairs. But the staircase no longer led to the entrance hall. Instead, he found himself back on the second floor. Impossible! He rushed down again. Second floor. Again. Every staircase returned him to the same hallway. The house had become a maze. Then he noticed something horrifying. The family photograph on the wall had changed. The 6 original figures remained. Daniel still stood in the background, but now another person had appeared beside him, a frightened woman wearing a park ranger uniform. Her face looked painfully familiar. Suddenly, he remembered before entering the forest, a gas station cashier had mentioned a missing ranger from nearly 15 years earlier. No body had ever been found. Now she was standing inside the photograph, looking directly at him. Tears streamed down her face. Without warning, her lips moved. No sound escaped the frame, but Daniel clearly understood the words, "Don't let it forget you." Hours passed, or perhaps only minutes. Inside Black Briar House, time no longer made sense. Every clock read 3:17. Every hallway looked slightly different each time he walked through it. Sometimes the wallpaper was blue, sometimes red, sometimes covered with children's drawings, sometimes stained black. Then he heard music. A soft piano melody drifted through the darkness. Following the sound, Daniel entered a room he had not seen before. It appeared untouched by time. Fresh flowers stood on a polished table. A fireplace burned brightly. A young girl, perhaps 9 years old, sat at the piano. She wore clothing from another century. Without turning around, she spoke. "You stayed too long." Daniel slowly answered, "Who are you?" "My name doesn't matter anymore." She continued playing. "Everyone forgets it eventually." "What is this place?" She stopped. For the first time, she looked at him. Her eyes were completely normal. Not glowing, not black, just unbearably sad. This house was built in 1891 by a wealthy family who wanted to escape the outside world after losing their daughter during a winter epidemic. They believed memories could keep people alive forever. So they invited a man who claimed he could preserve the souls of the dead. Daniel listened silently. The ritual failed, or perhaps she looked toward the ceiling, worked too well. The house never trapped souls, it trapped memories. Every person who enters leaves behind pieces of themselves. The longer they stay, the more the world outside forgets they ever existed. Daniel's heart sank. "My family." The girl nodded. "They're already beginning." Determined to prove her wrong, Daniel managed to restart his phone. One missed opportunity remained, a satellite text service. He quickly sent a message to his younger sister. "I'm trapped. Call the police. Black Briar House." After several agonizing minutes, a reply appeared. "Sorry, who is this?" Daniel stared at the screen. He called her. She answered politely. "Hello. It's me, Daniel." Silence. "I'm sorry," she replied. "I think you have the wrong number." Click. The call ended. His knees nearly gave out. He searched social media. His own accounts were gone. His documentaries no longer existed. News articles he had written had vanished. His apartment lease, his driver's license record, everything connected to Daniel Carter had disappeared, as if he had never been born. The little girl stepped closer. "There is still one way." "What?" "The house feeds on forgotten memories. If someone outside remembers you, the connection breaks." "But no one remembers me." The girl smiled sadly. "Not no one." She pointed toward the old journal inside his backpack. "You do." Daniel suddenly understood. Every victim had eventually forgotten themselves. That was the house's final victory. As long as he remembered who he was, there was still hope. He opened the journal and began writing. His name, his birthday, his parents, every childhood memory, every friend, every mistake, every dream. Page after page, hour after hour, the house shook violently. Portraits crashed from the walls. The whispering grew louder. Thousands of forgotten voices screamed together. They weren't trying to frighten him. They were trying to remember themselves. Daniel kept writing. When the final blank page was filled, the front door slowly opened. Cold morning sunlight poured into the hallway. The house became silent for the first time ever. 3 days later, hikers discovered Daniel unconscious near the collapsed front gate. His backpack still contained the journal. Doctors declared him dehydrated, but otherwise healthy. He returned home believing the nightmare had finally ended. Except, no one recognized him immediately. His fingerprints were still on file. His DNA still existed, but every personal relationship felt distant. Friends introduced themselves again. Neighbors insisted they had never met him. Even family photographs at his parents' house contained an empty space where he should have been standing. Only one thing proved he had existed: the journal. Every page remained exactly as he had written it. Researchers who later examined Black Briar House found nothing. No furniture, no portraits, no piano, no basement. Only the crumbling foundation of a house destroyed decades earlier. The official report concluded that Daniel had suffered hallucinations caused by isolation and stress. The case was closed. Yet Daniel never returned to investigative journalism. Instead, he spent the rest of his life traveling across America, leaving handwritten copies of his journal inside libraries, museums, and historical archives. Each copy ended with the same warning: if you ever find a house where every face has been scratched out, do not speak your name aloud. Some places don't want your life. They want the memory that you ever lived. And according to a handful of unexplained reports collected over the years, somewhere deep within the Appalachian Mountains, when the fog rolls in just before sunset, an old Victorian house still appears between the trees. Visitors who enter often notice a family photograph hanging in the upstairs hallway. The faces are difficult to recognize, except one. The man standing quietly in the background, holding a camera, looking directly at whoever has just walked through the front door, as though he has been waiting for someone new to remember him.